Okay, hi, I'm Justin DeTavio from IMFBblog.com here with State of the U. Part of the clinic talks that we're doing going into the Russell Athletic Bowl are going to be looking at the offense and defense that West Virginia runs. Well, how can Miami attack the 3-3-5? That's a great question to ask. I think we're all kind of wondering, when you start going into a bowl game and you get something a little bit out of the ordinary, you're not getting kind of 43-4-2-5 that you've been seeing for a lot of the year, or even a 34 you might see quite often, even though I don't think Miami's seen it quite a bit this year. But you start, looking at, you got something totally different to game plan for. You get a few extra weeks, to get that job done, but sometimes it's just a little awkward to have to get something completely new. And then the secondary phase of that is also looking at the air raid, and a little bit more different of a flavor to the air raid here, with West Virginia. But we're really taking a look today at the 3-3-5 defense and what Miami can do to attack that 3-3-5. So what I've put up here so far is just, you have your 5 offensive linemen, and you've got your end, your nose, and your end, and they're going to play, for the most part, besides when they try to run little games and stuff like that, they're really going to stick to playing in a 4 technique, which is over the tackle, a 0 over the center, and a 4 over the tackle, and then stacking it a 40, a 0, and a 40, okay? And that's what they're going to look at and look to play, and putting the free safety over the middle of the ball quite often. They want one guy that's the center fielder. It's just back there, being able to play kind of open. From there, they're going to adjust based on what the opponent does. So I have a back here offset in the shotgun. Now they're going to start looking at how that they're going to adjust to that accordingly. So they're going to want to bring a lot of pressure. And what they bring pressure with is these spur and bandit guys. So, strong and boundary, or however you want to, define them. Everybody calls them something different. But, what do you define them as? And, you got a field guy usually in a boundary up safety, and then you'll have your field and boundary corners. And so they're going to adjust that look and what they do based on what Miami lines up in. Miami at times has gone with 11 personnel, putting Herndon at tight end, having the Z receiver off the ball, having an X out here with the slot receiver. That's an A with a slot receiver out there. It gives you a nice balanced look, 2x2. It also opens up that RPO game. Some of you are fond of, and some of you aren't. But what that does to the look, they're not going to want to really move these 3 there and these 3 there. So that 6 is going to stay pretty solid, and number 7 is going to be pretty much in the same spot. What they're going to want to do here is walk that up safety onto the outside shoulder of the tight end, okay? And then they're going to want to put their, corner playing it at whatever different level they determine, depending on what coverage they're running, okay? On this other side, a lot of times they'll play, it looks like, their up safety way off, and then they'll have sort of almost a cover 2 look going on that back side. So whereas you might get him running to the flat, and you might get this corner kind of playing man up with that receiver, over there they're showing some cover 2, some quarters, and where teams are going to be able to take advantage of them is that they don't really want to move a whole lot of this. Okay? So once they're kind of pulled into that box, they're not going to change it a whole lot. All right, and they want to bring that pressure. And you're going to see at times that end cheat into a 4-eye, which is inside, and he's going to come inside. They're going to scrape exchange you on that, where he's going to come in and Will's going to play the outside gap, and they're going to try to mess up your zone read. Well, he's not pulling anyway here, Kaya. And so he's really going to be looking, if they're going to go with the RPO stuff, at his leverage here. So if I get this guy, then let's say he's at 8, and he's outside in that, 2, I can easily stock block him, run that quick bubble, and I can just throw it out there depending on what they do. If they're going to play, get scrape exchange, and no one's playing that flat, he's too far to make the play, all right? That's what the look that they're going to have to really take a look at, And I think what teams, can do and have done to teams like this is start to motion this back, raise the ball, snap, and blast him out of the backfield over there in a quick swing, come up and stock all of that, and actually throw it quick just out and over to that back that goes out in the swing, okay? And you can do that in a couple of different ways. You can also, have a pistol player, and that's who you can run your inside zone with. I haven't seen a ton of that out of Miami, so I wouldn't expect it. But, what a lot of the teams have done to eliminate the pressure is to motion that guy out and just throw it to him real quick because they're not really adjusting well in this area of the field. Okay, so that's definitely one thing that they're going to look at doing. As they scrape exchange, I think Miami can run some swings. I think Walton is definitely dynamic enough to be able to handle that. I think he's a little more dynamic than some people, will give him credit for. And I think he's learning. He got more explosive as the season went on. I think he really learned how to make those cuts and plays. I think he is definitely more of a zone back. He's following, making those reads and stuff. So what I think here that you can look at too, and I think this would benefit Miami a ton, is to get Herndon in an H-back wing. Okay, and I could see that happening. This Z would have to step up onto the ball, which shouldn't be a problem. And what you're going to get is you'll probably still get that up safety. But now you've got the ability with all that blitzing, okay, with all the pressure that they're bringing, you have the ability for him to split zone block. And I think that's where Miami really needs to take advantage if they want to run the football against guys shooting gaps. Okay, so if you got guys just shooting, into different gaps, I think you're going to have to be able to run split zone because I don't see the Miami offensive line being good enough, being dominant enough to pick all this up and just wash it down and run with it. It's not the Cowboys. They're not, some of those old Cowboys or Nebraska Cornhuskers type offensive line. So I think if you split zone and you block back across, it doesn't have to be the guy that's out here. It's any trash left behind. If this is the look you're getting, and we're running that RPO, and we're going to run split zone, I think this is the look that you want. You gap hinge anyway, so you pick him up, you gap hinge, you're here, all right? He's kind of free. He's got nobody in his spacing here. He's going to winds up picking up the end, and in the end, it winds up being on some little scrawny guy like an up safety, okay? As he just stalks there. So I think that's what I would intend to see a lot from, out of Miami. I would think that you would see the wing off, and I think that you're going to see him block back down, split zone, and, take out any trash that sneaks through. And that way, one of our weaker cats here, McDermott or somebody gets blown the fuck up, we're able to just kick that guy out no matter where he comes from through that line via blitz or just overpowering the guy that is trying to block it. So I think that's a great look for Miami. I think this is the guy to do the job, and I think that would be Njoku. I think that's going to be Coley, and I think you can go with a Barrios type guy there, or Richards. And, I think with Richards, Coley, Njoku, Herndon on the field at the same time with Walton, I think you've got talent. You've got athleticism. Okay, so you're not lacking in that athleticism, that some of these other teams are. I think you can run with West Virginia with that kind of lineup. So that's looking at RPO, looking at playing that 11 personnel, having Herndon there, Njoku there. I think that would be, and then having it ran again with Herndon as a wing. I think that's some good stuff, and we can expect to see some split zone for sure. And I think maybe. Something else I'll drop in a second. All right, so something else I think we're going to see is a little bit of one-back power. I think if you're sticking with this wing formation and you don't want to, you have to protect your plays nowadays. So you're going to hear that a lot if you go online looking at coaching stuff about protecting plays. You've got to have your couple of core runs. If you're going to run inside zone, split zone, and say this one-back power, you're going to have to protect that somehow. And how do you do that? With play actions off of it, using the RPO game on the other side there. That stuff protects your plays. And lining up in the same formation. So if you're going to stay in that wing formation, all right, and really try to get you a nice little matchup here of having a bigger guy like Herndon on a little up safety, that's a great thing to do. You can combo here and work a guy up to the next level, okay? You've got to have that center be able to pick up that nose. I think that's going to be the biggest battle that goes on in this game is going to be right there, the center and the nose tackle. Having weak center play, it's got to be really in this day and age. You can listen to a podcast I had with Mike Gray from Tampa Catholic. That's got to be your most astute player on top of really controlling the A-gap is huge. So control the A-gap there, We're going to skip pull that through there and gap hinge him up. Back takes the ball, follows right through on that skip pull, and you've still got your same look there on the RPO and the stock, okay, and the bubble. And I think that's going to be something, if you get your numbers, you just step and throw. And I hope that they can incorporate it into something other than just a damn inside zone run. And obviously, especially with this, kind of have to do anything mobile whatsoever. All right, I think that's another great look that you're going to be able to see. Something that, off of this, looking kind of more play action off of it, something that I think Miami can really do, and as you start getting aggressive blitzing linebackers that you can really do, is you're able to get your play action game going, and I think that's something Miami's really going to have to take advantage of, seeing what you've got here. So you know that you can sit down and run a stick, and he can run a vertical. You've got the speed guy, Coley. He's going to chase the corner off. He's going to get the safety's attention. Okay, and he run. Then you have your inside guy, Njoku, kind of run a stick. He comes up, he sits down, the ball's not there, he breaks out and turns outside, and he's at, say 7 yards, and he's able to make a nice play. So if this guy pushes off, let's say he blitzes, you're kind of reading from here to here and saying, what does he do? Okay, as he sits down, if this guy doesn't bite and he's not breaking out here to the ball, you put it right in the spot. If he breaks over and you see him start to drift, boom, you break outside, no one's there. Okay? On the other side, you can kind of run the exact same shit. Because if you're getting a ton of blitz work coming in from here, and he runs sit and breaks out, and he runs a vertical for you, you've chased. That safety's got to make a decision somewhere. If you can't cover Richards by yourself, you're fucked. All right? You can still pull a guy backside. He doesn't come across the ball. He just comes down the line, which actually helps you pick guys up. He takes a fake across and looks for anything he can get to. All right? And you're able to run sticks. Quick little fake, and then you're looking at stick. You're really reading these two guys, and you're seeing who makes the play. If he drifts deep and he comes up and plays the run like he's going to, pretty much they like to blitz or play the run hard. Fake it, draw all three guys in, throw it right behind him. I think you have to incorporate that play-action game. I think also the delayed screen can work well. You've got to keep guys in to block. Somebody, you're not going to be able to block with 5 here against them. So I think leaving in, maybe even here, if you leave Herndon in the block, and he's there, on the play action to block, pick something up. I think that's going to be key to, Miami being able to defend Brad Kaya against constant pressure coming. They will blitz this guy and run him out. You have to be faster than that. You have to be able to get out there and run your stuff out into the flat, your arrow, slant arrow type stuff, and get out into the flat and make a play. I don't think West Virginia could do anything that Miami can't pick up and defend if they try to do it the right way. When they try to go with a 5-man line, I just don't understand it, because you know that you've got weaknesses on your line. You've got to be able to help them out. But with more than just a little running back, you've got to use wing-type guys and, H-back type guys to be able to assist tight ends, stuff like that. So if you have a big old fullback, why not use him? You have a badass H-back, why not use him? And you've got to be able to take advantage of that. Okay, another thing that they can do in the passing game is 4 verts. Mike Leach's old 6 play. And what you're looking to do, remember, people think this means 4 guys just run deep, but in reality, you're looking to find holes in wherever you are in the coverage. So as he starts to break, he's either going to run that vertical, sit and catch immediately, or break his route off outside. Okay? Again, vertical, sit immediately, break his route off outside. Outside and away from danger, those back shoulder throws you're seeing so often now. What he's going to do is work his way up. And remember, he's out on the numbers, on the hash. What he's going to be able to do is work vertical, or he breaks off inside, vertical, or he breaks off inside. Okay, it depends on what guys do according to what he's doing. Now you're going to have to be able to work this back in. You need that 6-man protection. Okay, and you've got to see, where is this pressure coming from. Let's say we get some form of a loop outside, inside. We get a little hole player. We get working back against, slanting in, and he's working his way outside, and he's going to work the flat. So that's what you're getting, is a flat. Now he's got to keep his eyes and say, I'm assuming you're going 1 and number 2 threat here, 2-1. I'm assuming that's how they're going to work that there. What do some guys do now to really break away from that? they scissor that out and cross those two guys. And that way, those two have to switch responsibility. It's still your 6 play, but he's going to wind up being the hash player. He winds up being the number guy, and they just kind of cross up in each other, almost like a little scissor play there. What he's going to wind up doing is working his way up the number. At this corner, okay, is all by himself, but he's working outside leverage. He's actually going to catch the ball up and in a little bit. The safety's got to make a decision. He knows he's got 2 over 2. Here, if this guy's going to play the flat or something like that for him, okay, he's actually got to wind up, working over to number 2. So does he play it deep? Does he jump the route? That's how this guy needs to adjust his positioning. If he starts to jump the route, he needs to break off and boom, start to turn his hips, come back. If he's pedal, he just sits down in that spot, hit him all day long. Hit him right in that little gap. You watch these guys disappear. He starts to fade out and towards this guy as he comes up. He's got to fade a little bit out that way. And that's how you're going to wind up being able to make that adjustment right into these little windows. Behind that linebacker, in front of that safety, works like a charm. As you watch these guys start to break off, he works his way up the field, he starts coming, he works his way back. They've now got to switch responsibilities in a hurry because that ball can be thrown out here and he can work his way out there as they try to switch and break off. His hips have to turn. You want that double hip turn. So you want to work the guy outside in and then back out from the second guy. As you come back in, it's going to really cross them up. I think 4 verts is a great way when you have one high safety to try to work somebody and really get the ball into those holes. Not deep, but into little holes and pockets. Okay, so I think, out of this 11 personnel formation, what can you do? Well, I think you need to work the middle of your field, and I think they've got some of the guys that are able to do that if they can protect long enough. What's a great way to do it? Work the mesh concept. Work guys across the field. If he runs a nice drag, you can keep him in the block, okay? And you're working a mesh concept. Have him, work his way, run a nice post behind it, okay? So if you've got, the guy doing a short drag, or shallow drag, cross, and you've got him running that swing route there, I think you're able to, play with these guys a little bit, and you still get a 6-man protection. Your tight ends in blocking, let's say you're going to half slide towards the nose, which is difficult here, but I can see you picking up big on big here. I can see dropping that guard a little bit. I can see sliding over towards the numbers, and the numbers are going to be 1, 2, and you're going to semi-slant, or there's a blitz of 3. Let's say he goes weak. He's obviously picked up here, and he's going to come through, okay, and get picked up by the center. All right, so I think when you look at protection, it's going to be a little sloppier. That's what the 3-3-5 and Joe Lee Downs was looking to do. He was looking to screw up a lot of the passing systems that were going on, and especially man blocking. So you zone it up and wash everything out. It's called fan block. Everybody's kind of turns and fans out. But when you're here, you got to make sure that you're picking up big on big, and then you're able to work from there. I want my left tackle on my end, and then I'm going to work from there. But this is something where maybe he cuts his split down. He's not quite as deep. Runs that drag straight across the field. You need stuff that when they start bringing these guys up, you can throw right behind it. Well, how's he going to be able to play a quick little drag route there, and he's got to keep his eyes right here. And you've got a post coming up and right behind you. That safety's got to take a pick. Does he follow this drag? What does his corner do? Is his assignment going to be to break off in case you get Hernan out there? They're going to have to really look at stuff and see what they're going to do. I think this can become one of those games where you just start picking people apart and you find a guy that, you know what coverage you're getting out of this corner, and you know that you're just able just to abuse him. You run a drag here, he delays and comes out, into the flat, something like that, and you're able to really start picking these guys apart. I think you're going to have to do it with split zone. You're going to have to do it with staying true to some formations. RPOs are going to be the way to go, and I think you're going to have to do it with some kind of shallow crosses and stick routes, and that delayed screen that they've used so well at times to the running back. I think that's the kind of thing that you're going to see Miami really take advantage of West Virginia with. So hopefully you enjoy this video from State of the U, IronmanFootballBlog.com.